Hey guys, what's up? It's Ripe again. In today's video, my entitled neighbor wants me arrested for not washing her car and then calls the cops on me. Here is what happened. Subscribe to Ripe on YouTube and don't forget to hit the bell to turn on notifications. I remember when I moved into my first apartment with my girlfriend, I was so excited. This was about 5 or 4 years ago and I was in my mid-20s. I had lived on my own before, being that I moved out of my parents' house when I was 19. Anyways, this was the next step in mine and my girlfriend's relationship. I met her in my freshman year in college and I knew she was the one. Each unit in our apartment complex was assigned 1 or 2 parking spots depending on how many people were in their household. So for me and my girlfriend, we were assigned 2 parking spaces. Now, our parking spaces are under a carport. Anyways, as soon as we move in, we notice that someone is using one of our parking spaces to store stuff. There were some boxes there with a tarp over it, stashed safely under the carport. Management was quick to harass us about this, but we thought that it was not ours and that I actually had to park in the street because our parking space was being used for someone's storage. We had no idea who it was and we never saw anyone out there dealing with it or going through it. After going back and forth for a while, the management office puts a written note on the stuff saying that if it is not moved by a certain date, it will be thrown away. And this is where my CB neighbor comes in. Finally, we found out that it is my neighbor's stuff. She does not know that I also live in the apartment with my girlfriend and sees me taking out the trash one day. She asked if I can help her move some of the boxes and I say, sure. She immediately starts talking about some skinny woman who reported her because she saw her out there looking at the stuff. I find out that she had an agreement with the previous tenants who let her use the parking spot for storage. To be honest, I would not even be surprised if she bullied them into it. Anyways, none of that was the main part of the story. It's plainly important to mention because it really highlights how entitled and snobby she was from the get-go and how I should have seen it just getting worse. So fast forward a couple of weeks and by now we are getting to know more of the neighbors around us. We met this really cool guy that lives on the floor beneath us. His name was Gerald. He was an elderly gentleman and was hunched over due to a back injury. He walked with a cane but seemed pretty independent. One day I was chatting with him and he said he was not looking forward to driving his car downtown the next day to get it washed. He said the last time he had to wait a while and that they did not do it right. Now, I'm not sure what kind of car he was driving, but I know it was at least an old 1970s car. You know, the nice cars that people restore. I told him that I actually used to work at a car wash, true story, and that I would love to wash his car for him. It ends up being a small side gig for me to work on because more neighbors want their cars washed. Most of them paid in means of beer, cleaning up our balcony, or helping us with stuff around the apartment. It was really fun and great because everyone got something out of it. Well, it was fun until CB Karen made it unfun. So it was my normal car washing day and my last car of the day happened to be Gerald. The sun was setting and he was sitting in a lawn chair watching me as we were having a beer and chatting. About halfway through me washing his car, Karen shows up. She pulls her car behind Gerald's and gets out. I don't know if she was scoping out the situation or what, but she looked us up and down and said that she would be back shortly, got her keys and walked away. Now, I honestly was not sure what she meant by this. I thought she was going to go complain that I was washing cars in the parking spaces, or that she was going to complain that we were drinking outside. The complex was pretty strict about this due to an incident that happened regarding a DUI. However, I had already alerted the management office that I would be washing cars and they were okay with it as long as I cleaned up after myself. Regardless, I really did not know what Karen was on about. Well, I found out when I finished Gerald's car. See, I finished his car so the both of us were just sitting on the lawn chairs he brought out and having a beer. His car was now pulled in his parking space and Karen comes back. She walks up to us while clearly being angry and starts shouting at me, asking why I have not cleaned her car. She pulled up behind Gerald's car when I was washing it because she wanted her own car to be washed as well. I told her that I had no idea what she was talking about and hell, I barely knew her. She said, "Well, you washed the old man's car, why didn't you wash mine?" I told her that I had a deal with Gerald, I wash his car once every 2 weeks and he pays me in beer. I told her that everyone that wants their car washed by me pays in some sort of form. She then starts telling me that I was being a douchebag and that I should not expect anything from her because she was a single mother. I tell her that I have still no idea what the actual F she was talking about. I was really beginning to think that she was drunk. Why was she yelling at me when we had never discussed washing her car? The most interaction I ever had with her was when I helped her move boxes from my parking spot. She steps closer and tells me that she's going to call the police officers on me, and it is then that I can smell the alcohol on her breath. So I let her call the police officers, knowing damn sure that it will be her demise. The police officers end up coming, and of course by now everyone is standing outside watching. They obviously ask me and Gerald what the deal was, and we tell the police officers the truth. Which is quite different from what Karen told them. While they did give us a verbal warning about drinking in the parking lot of the apartment complex, Karen's karma made it worth it. Not only were they able to charge her for DUI, since she was caught parking the car on security cameras and they did a breathalyzer on her, and when they ran the license plate number, it came back as stolen. So, if you're going to be a Karen, at least be a smart one and don't call the police officers when you have a stolen car in your possession. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, she did end up serving time for automobile theft, DUI, and had her license taken away. Man, being a Karen does not seem all that fun after all. And yeah guys, if you're being a Karen and berating others, please make sure that you are not driving in a stolen car while drunk. That would be a bad idea. Anyway, let's continue to the next one. The next one is titled, Karen demands 50% discount because she is the owner's wife. Actually, I am his wife. After my husband and I retired, we bought a specialty/hobby shop. The previous owners were pretty well known in our city, and after retirement we both wanted something that we could do and enjoy together. It was a small and quiet little shop, but there was knickknacks and gadgets everywhere. Now, we've had all sorts of customers and people in and out of our store. A lot of people are looking for something specific. Now, most people will negotiate prices if it is a collectible or vintage piece. For example, we have a selection of hockey cards and we are willing to negotiate prices with people as long as it's not too crazy. As a business owner, the faster we sell something, the faster we make revenue, obviously. Every now and then though, we would get someone that insisted on paying a price that was absolutely outrageous. Now, I will say that most of the time my husband is the one to deal with customers. He knows more about the stuff we have, and well, honestly, I prefer to look at the books and crunch numbers and figure out metrics. However, this story takes place on one weekend when my husband was out of town. So it is me and one other employee in the store, and this lady comes in. Now, I hate to stereotype people, but she looked like the typical middle-aged woman who tried to redeem coupons that were expired. Anyways, she comes in and she starts looking at some model helicopters we have. I go up to her and ask her if there's anything she needs help with. She starts off by saying that her son is into these little helicopters and that she wants to purchase one for his birthday. But she was not willing to spend too much money. I give her some options of our lower priced helicopter models, but they were still pretty pricey. I guess this kind of hobby was quite expensive, but to each their own, right? Anyways, she does not really answer me when I am giving her these options, so I am thinking she wants some space. I let her know that I'll be at the front counter should she have any questions or need anything. So my coworker and I are chatting up at the front counter while the lady shops around. Honestly, she did seem like a Karen, but I figured if anything happened, I could handle it. Like I said before, I don't usually deal too much with customers, but I deal with numbers and the business aspect of things. The lady comes up to the counter and puts a box in front of me. It is a model helicopter, but it is one of the more expensive models. This one in particular was about $400. I start a conversation with her while ringing her up. She also bought some little games and knickknacks. Me? Oh, this is a great choice. I'm sure your son will love this. Lady? Yeah, but I want a discount. Me, unfortunately we don't offer discounts on these items. We do have a trade-in special though on certain items where you can bring something in and we give you a store credit. Lady, did I ask you about a store credit? I want a discount. I'm the owner's wife, so I should get my 50% off discount. My mouth drops because, hello? I was not expecting her to pull an excuse like that out of her butt, and also, I was the owner's wife. As a matter of fact, I'm the co-owner. Me, oh, so you are my husband's wife? Or my wife? Because my husband and I own this shop. Lady, yeah right, you're just an employee. I bet you're that one girl he always talks bad about. He should just fire you. At this statement I move to the side and point her eyesight to a framed picture of my husband and I hugging each other in front of the shop. It was taken when we first bought the shop. I tell the lady that she has to pay full price because unfortunately her husband was not around to give her a discount. If she did not want to pay full price, she could leave. She huffs and puffs and walks her way out of the building, telling me that she is not paying full price for a toddler toy. And ma'am, it was a $400 helicopter model, definitely not a toy. Anyways, there is an antique store across from us. Since we are on one of the main streets in the city, we were lucky enough to be on the part where all the local businesses and neat little shops are. My husband gets back from his trip and the antique store owner comes over to catch up. Apparently this lady has been doing this to other small businesses too, but she uses a different excuse every time. Apparently she told an antique store employee that her son was dying, but she could afford some vintage Coca-Cola truck toy for him and that he really wanted it. Come on lady, if you're going to be a cheap ass, don't do it to the businesses that are all next to each other. And yeah guys, it seems like some people just want to get either everything for free or a huge discount, even when that means that they have to lie and embarrass themselves. And the next one is titled, Neighbor Says He Will Kill Me. Hey everyone, so let's begin. We have lived at this fourplex apartment for 5 years now. All of the neighbors were absolutely awesome, kept to themselves but would say hi. Our previous neighbor who we shared a wall with was a musician. He was loud from time to time, but it was not that bad. He would do it at decent times, so it would not bother us. Sometimes he would have parties, but he was so considerate, we honestly did not care. Cut to our new neighbor, who then moved in. I'm going to cut out most of the things that happened before this due to it being so much. So anyway, it all began one night. It was 3:30ish AM and this neighbor was playing his music very loud. Bass and has a subwoofer, also he would do this 24/7, it would not ever stop. We have asked him to turn it down, he just turns it up. My significant other banged on the wall and told him to turn it down. He then came outside threatening to blow off someone's head, which we then called the cops on. Unfortunately, due to no recorded evidence, he could not be charged. Second time, had to call the police for music too loud. I don't care if I can hear it through the wall, I just don't want my walls and windows to shake. It is just obnoxious. A few days later, he proceeded to play music as loud as possible at 7 AM and say F you neighbors. So that was nice. It was during sound ordinance, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, he now has made through wall verbal threats of how he wants to kill us. I keep trying to catch it on video since I need evidence. He says it loud enough that I can hear it, but not on my phone. It is just always at random times, so let's cut to today. The music, everything has gone on since, multiple threats on our life. We have asked him to turn it down multiple times, but he never does. So we got sick of it and started banging on things today. And he came outside and made another threat and said all we had to do was tell him to turn it down. Because yeah, you know that worked before. He also gets upset if we talk, our phones go off, or if we play anything at even half the volume that he does. So you know, he thinks clearly. We will be moving into a house once it's finished, but any ideas so that I can figure out ways to deal with this would be appreciated. Bass and the subwoofer can still be heard through my stereo headphones. Not super concerned about the threats, but it does get old to hear how I'm going to be murdered every day. Thank you for reading, sorry if it is a bit scatterbrained. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you're dealing with this or any annoying neighbor, I hope one day you can get peace and rest too. Update, so we filed another police report regarding the threatening to kill us, and in short, the police officer that we filed the report with has dealt with him before and basically said he's just a career douchebag and he won't do anything in general, he's just a dickhead. Also that he does not actually have the means to do anything, but if he threatens with an actual weapon, they can arrest him and we can defend ourselves. So basically, this guy just sucks and makes threats all the time, so that basically cleared it for me on who exactly I am dealing with. Also, the neighbor left the house after the cop came, so I actually got a good sleep. That was amazing. And yeah guys, I gotta say, I am very disappointed with the police response in this story. So basically, the police cannot do anything if someone threatens to kill you, unless he actually pulls out a knife or something and actively tries to kill you. Shouldn't the police be interested in preventing crimes and not just try to stop them when they are actively happening? Maybe I'm in the minority here, but that is just stupid. And the next one is titled, Neighbors are using my private driveway. Hey guys, as the title states, we are having issues with our neighbors using and blocking our private driveway. We had authorities take care of it the first time, as we were unsure of who it was, and the neighbor came over to our yard and told me to come talk to her instead if it happens again. I have gone over every single time since, dozens of issues over the couple months we have lived in our house, and they will move it, but they seem to not get the idea to maybe just not park in a driveway or block a driveway that is not theirs. Has anyone else dealt with this, and what were your steps taken to make sure the interactions went smoothly? Any advice is greatly appreciated. Note, in my city it is illegal to park within 30 centimeters of someone's driveway while parked on the road. It is illegal to park in someone's privately owned driveway without their permission, and with that being said, I can only get the car towed if in my driveway, otherwise I have to call parking enforcement or the non-emergent police line if PE is closed. Update to the story, they moved out this morning and a for sale sign is up out front. Don't know if it was the fact that we called the authorities on them again, or if they were just ready to move on and wanted to take advantage of the booming house market in our area. Either way, I'm glad I don't need to stress out every time I want to leave or enter my driveway anymore. Final update, they were tenants, I found out they were not paying rent and also abandoned the rental when they were moving out at 5 AM. Closing date for the unit is September, so we'll have a neighbor-free summer. Also still keeping an eye out just in case anything fishy happens. Thanks for all the advice, everyone. And yeah guys, I'm very glad for OP that is just how the situation concluded. I guess sometimes you just have to be lucky when it comes to getting awful neighbors out. Thank you very much for watching, I hope to see you again tomorrow.